Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press. I think it is important and necessary that I place the record straight on the Bexon Marc flood mitigation works and the situation that existed when the St. Lucia Labour Party left office on June the 6th, 2016. On October 2010, Hurricane Thomas, a Category 1 hurricane, passed just south of St. Lucia, and the cul-de-sac and Marc River valleys experienced flooding due to the extreme rainfall events. The heavy rains generated debris flows, mudslides, and landslides that swept away numerous houses, buildings, bridges, roads, and vehicles across the island. The Marc and Bexon areas were among the areas most affected. The areas of Odsa, Deglo, Bexon, Labé, and Rafin Poisson have been established around the cul-de-sac river valley bottom, adjacent to the main highway, and areas like Crownlands, Flosac, and Marc are along the lateral roads, such as the Marc Road. After the destruction of Hurricane Thomas, the then UWP government secured a loan. The loan was called the Natural Disaster Management Rehabilitation and Reconstruction Hurricane Thomas St. Lucia from the Caribbean Development Bank, originally for $48.5 million, to undertake the restoration of some infrastructure damaged during the storm. The Bexon Marc flood risk reduction was part of that package. The project manager was appointed via competitive tender on 1st October 2011 when the UWP was in government. The appointment received a no objection from the CDB, and the terms and conditions of work of the project manager were agreed to by the UWP government. On December 12, 2012, a contract for consultancy services for the Hurricane Thomas Rehabilitation and Reconstruction Project hydraulic assessment for flood risk reduction, Bexon and Marc, was signed. The consultancy was part of the loan mentioned earlier. The consultants opined that reducing the impacts of flooding to people, property, and infrastructure in these flood-affected areas will not be accomplished through simple solutions. Reducing flood risks will require changes in regulation, policies and enforcement, and integration with structural and non-structural measures. The ability to carry out the recommended physical works is constrained by limited fiscal resources. While some measures can likely be implemented within a year, others may need to be implemented over several years in a phased approach. After an open, competitive tendering process, the firm of Dillon Consulting Limited, a Canadian firm with over 700 employees, was awarded the contract after no objection was received from the Caribbean Development Bank. The consultants presented a flood risk reduction report and action plan, which was widely discussed with civil society, including the Association of Professional Engineers of St. Lucia, members of the affected areas, and the parliamentary representative for Southeast Castries, Honorable Guy Joseph. The action plan contains measures described as structural, non-structural, and long-term. The structural measures included a school-side ring dike, debris flow barrier system at Ravine Poisson, debris flow barrier system on the upper Marc River, bank protection and gabion baskets, riprap, bioengineering, replacement at the Marc Road crossing with a single-span street truss bridge, a new bridge south of Marc, local drainage improvements, increased channel capacities downstream to Grand Cul-de-sac Bay. The non-structural measures included flood early warning system, improved collection of data, education, public awareness and preparedness, rainfall harvesting, establish a riprap setback zone, deforestation, desilting, dredging, and declogging of rivers and drains. And the long-term plans were building codes, land use controls, and insurance. A further contract for the design of 3 of the structural measures was signed with Dillon on 27th of August 2015. It is important to note that the CDB was involved and participated at every stage of the process. At June 2016, Dillon Consulting was finalizing designs for 3 flood mitigation options. 1. The dike burn to protect the school, a new bridge along the Marc River, and riverbank protection works, gabions or boulder packing, riprap at 3 locations where frequent flooding happens. Final designs were expected by August 2016. It is clear that the interventions were from professional international engineers and were formulated after intensive, detailed scientific studies, analysis, and concurrence with the CDB. The St. Lucia Labour Party never viewed the fates of the people of Bexon and surrounding areas as a political football or an opportunity to enrich certain selected contractors. The plan was comprehensive, scientific, and not driven by political motives and personal ambitions. We believe that the people of Bexon, Marc, and surrounding areas should demand that the communities are respected and the genuine flood mitigation efforts that began in 2012 to alleviate their condition be continued by the UWP government.